How do you know it's a light beer? That depends on how you hold it. Amstel Light, the beer drinker's light beer.
More local news with John Clark on News Channel 11 ABC.
Spanning the globe to bring you the constant variety of sport.
The man is incredible.
The thrill of victory.
Absolutely the best.
And the agony of defeat.
Look at him go! Oh, baby. Oh, no.
This is ABC's Wide World of Sports.
The memories, the motivation, the majesty. On the shoulders of the American team, the miracle of Lance Armstrong's Tour de France title is being defended. Mix red, white, and blue to the spectrum of this competition, and you'll find every rider's favorite color. David Miller, in his rookie year, led like a veteran for 3 days and 300 miles. Then Laurent Jalabert and his team were summoned to take their best time to trial. The verdict, yellow to a Frenchman for the first time in 2 years. Then, with the Tour in high gear, the jersey was honored by Alberto Elli, about to close his Tour career. He's ready to kiss it goodbye with former champions Pantani, Ulrich, and Armstrong about to attack. As the 2000 Tour races into its second weekend, we are now promised one of the most competitive bike races we've seen for some time. The real gladiators are about to make their move. Hello again, everyone. With Phil Liggett, I'm Adrian Karsten. You know, this really is a very different Tour de France than the one we saw last summer in 1999. Defending champion American Lance Armstrong has yet to win the yellow jersey, much less give it away. Phil, what impresses me is the equality of competition. We've seen the Maillot Jaune go from everyone's Rookie of the Year, David Miller from Great Britain, onto the back of a 36-year-old who has more Tour experience than anyone.
Yes, and all of the Tour favourites are sitting back and watching the action. They've lost no real time among themselves. That's important. You see, Adrian, this opening week really hasn't provided them with an opportunity to attack one another. But the big thing is they still don't know each other's strengths and weaknesses.
I don't think we even do as far as Lance Armstrong is concerned. For cycling fans who take a look at the overall standings, Phil, after 7 days of cycling, and they say, here's the defending champion almost 6 minutes down, what's your response to that?
Well, he's 6 minutes down, yes, but on the leader of the Tour. And the leader of the Tour finished 33 minutes behind Lance Armstrong last year. So Lance is not going to care too much about where he is. All of the men likely to win this Tour de France when we come out the other side of the mountains are very close to Lance Armstrong. We are talking really, Adrian, of minutes.
Very unique situation here in the 2000 Tour. Team Telecom. Jan Ulrich, their team leader, the 97 champion, has teamed up with Alberto Elli, 36 years old, who has the yellow jersey. The question is, who really is the leader? What do they do now? Paul Sherwin, a man with 7 Tours de France experience, explains.
Well, after all, Team Telecom are the #1 bike racing team in the world, but they do realize to win the Tour de France, they need to conserve as much energy as possible. The Tour de France is won over 3 weeks of effort. They're in a good situation, though, with Alberto Elli in the lead in the yellow jersey. But for them, the most important thing is to take Jan Ulrich to the Champs-Élysées in yellow in 2 weeks' time. They've also got a 3-pronged attack because their man Eric Zabel is trying to take out his 5th title at the points competition for the fastest sprinter in the bike race. It is difficult for them, but I think most of the other teams will be happy because Team Telecom will try and defend that jersey for as long as possible. They would be doing the same thing if Ulrich was in the lead now. And I'm fairly certain that John Eustace will tell us how the U.S. Postal Service feels about the situation on the road.
The fact that Lance Armstrong is in 12th place, almost 6 minutes down in the leaders, does not bother his team. What they're looking at is where he stands compared to his immediate rivals for victory in Paris, Marco Pantani, Jan Ulrich, and Alex Zula. Well, he's ahead of all of them. What's more, because he hasn't yet taken the yellow jersey, through a combination of luck and shrewd tactical sense, Armstrong's team has not yet had to go to the front of the bunch and do one of those long, exhausting chases. Unlike Once, who defended the jersey for a day and a half before completely blowing to bits, and now Telecom, who are at the front now defending for Alberto Elli. So as we approach the mountains with one flat stage to go, Armstrong is in perfect position, and his team is fresh and ready for the real battles that lie ahead.
So, after 7 days of racing, Alberto Elli leads the Tour with the lowest accumulated time after 650 miles. The rest of the names you see down to Lance Armstrong will become inconsequential once we hit the mountains. The other Americans in the Tour are considered support people except Bobby Julich, the leader of the French team Credit Agricole. He was third in the 98 Tour de France. How far have the cyclists come since we started last Saturday? 651 miles. It took us into the Brittany region, close to Normandy. Laurent Jalabert had the yellow jersey when we made the turn racing south, covering 630 miles in 5 days' time. That takes us now to the town of Limoges, where we begin today, where Lance won a most emotional stage back in 1995. The map of today's route, Stage 8, is brought to you by Lincoln. This is going to be another 127 miles from Limoges to Villeneuve-sur-Lot. That means 4 to 5 hours in the saddle for the cyclists. We're heading due south toward the Pyrenees Mountains. That means that this is one of the last days when a breakaway artist or a sprinter can win a stage. Last 3 days have been long and grueling. This will be no exception. Fatigue in the field may make it a dangerous day. The Tour de France restarts every morning at a different town for 3 weeks, but always with the yellow jersey at the front. Today, that again is Alberto Elli at age 36, the oldest man since the end of World War II to wear the leader's jersey. He has finished 10 Tours de France, and that's more than any other cyclist in this bike race, including defending champion Lance Armstrong. What were the highlights of the first 7 days of this 3-week race? Find out when we return to France.
The 2000 Lincoln Navigator. It's so luxurious, so comfortable, and so peaceful. You can almost hear a needle drop. The best-selling full-size luxury SUV in America. It's also the most powerful in the world. If you're interested in hearing more, drop in.
How does Lotrimin AF start curing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching and burning? On contact. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure. On contact. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure.
Call them Generation D, the generation that was born digital and raised on the net, speaking a language of zeros and ones. Now they're at WorldCom, developing web centers, the wireless internet. And for them, it's a joyride. Want to feel comfortable with new technologies? Work with people who are comfortable. WorldCom, Generation D.
You've always believed that your dreams would come true. And all of the time, we've been rooting for you. Work for long years, you put your life on hold. Now this is your chance, friend. Go for the gold. Don't fall. Now that the pressure is on, don't fall. Just keep your energy strong. Follow the star. 'Cause you got a friend in Power Bar.
How does Lotrimin AF start curing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching and burning? On contact. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure. On contact. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure.
The Tour de France on ABC Sports, brought to you by Lincoln American Luxury, WorldCom Generation D, Mobile Speed Pass, the fastest way to get gas. It's free and it's only at Mobile. And Festina Watches, the official timekeeper of the Tour de France and the USA cycling team. Festina, it's about time.
Rider number 1, the defending Tour de France champion Lance Armstrong from Austin, Texas. Last Saturday, he lost the opening stage by only 2 seconds. In the days that have followed, he let the others get the glory, just waiting for his time to come. When the 2000 Tour de France began 1 week ago today, all of the contenders had their eyes on the prize. Stage 1 victory and a showcase of their individual strength, but no one expected this.
Miller comes up to the line. He's got the target, 19 minutes and 3 seconds. Now, the rest have it all to do. Miller has set down the best time. Lance Armstrong in the start house now, and he's ready to open up his defence of the year 2000. Here in France, it has become a sprint finish between an American and the past Tour de France winner and a first-time ever rider from Britain in David Miller. And it is literally a sprint as Armstrong races up this long finishing straight here, aiming for 1903. He hasn't got it. He has not got it.
David Miller, in his first ever day on the Tour, had the prize. Winning the yellow jersey is one thing. Defending it can be totally another. His team kept him safe for the day. Containment, though, led to a speed finish, captured by Tom Steels, the former Belgian national champion. David Miller's tranquil day in yellow would be interrupted by the obstacles ahead. There's always danger in the Tour de France. Even for the man with the maillot jaune, there is nowhere to hide. While the sprinters lined up for the finish, Miller got back on his bike and continued to race.
There is David Miller. He's got to fight. He's going to have to do something very special to get himself back onto the tail. If there is a gap of 1 second in the main field, then David Miller will lose his jersey because he will be given a special time. He's gone straight by his teammate there.
And he kept going. While another stunning photo finish allowed Tom Steels to echo his earlier victory, Miller saved the last moments in the yellow jersey. The dream would be ended, though, by Team Otse, 9 men shattering their opponents in the team time trial, knocking the contenders like Alex Zula, Marco Pantani, the 98 champion, and Jan Ullrich, the 97 champion back. Only Team U.S. Postal Service could counter the punch. Lance Armstrong was almost too strong. His team held on and kept their man in sight. The Postal Boys finished second on the day. Otse's best-placed Laurent Jalabert brought the yellow jersey home. On Wednesday in Stage 5, 2 men escaped the peloton for 3 hours and 10 minutes. Over 100 miles, only to lose it in the last 100 meters. The Tour de France can also be heartbreaking.
Marcel Wust dives across to the left. He tries to grab the wheel of Zabel, and as they come up to the line, Wust may have this one. He's got it. Marcel Wust has done it on the line. A tremendous finish indeed.
In Stage 6, Otse decided not to defend Jalabert's yellow jersey. With Lance's chances further down the road, a group of 12 riders escaped. The danger lay, however, in Telecom's climber, hidden deep in the pack. While Dutch champion Leon van Boom sprinted to victory, we had a new contender in the yellow jersey. And yesterday, 2 years and 40 stages removed from a Frenchman winning a Tour stage, Christophe Agneluto brought back the glory to France, if just for a single day. Yet the ultimate achievement in cycling remains on the shoulders of Alberto Elli. At 36 years of age, he has logged over 23,000 miles in his Tour de France career alone. Tells you how hard it is to win the yellow jersey, if even just for one day. Will he win it again today? We begin to find out in just a moment with Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin. They are standing by with the call of today's Stage 8 on the Tour de France.
I have a dream. I walk out onto the high dive platform at the Olympics and make the perfect back 2.5 twister. Will my Olympic dream come true? Nah, I'm a pole vaulter.
There'll still be some limits to the dreams of Olympic athletes, but none for Olympic Games spectators. To Visa, the only card accepted at the Sydney Olympic Games.
I can't even swim.
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Wood.
leather, adrenaline. The new Lincoln LS, Motor Trend Car of the Year.
The hole-in-one. The sand trap. The bad lie. Tiger Woods defends his title next at the Advil Western Open.
We have a situation. After tonight, lost baggage isn't all you'll worry about. Kiefer Sutherland, the network premiere, Ground Control, ABC Tonight.
Stage 8 of the 2000 Tour de France, 127 miles across the countryside of west central France. Two Americans are at the front of this race right now chasing a stage victory. Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin have the details approaching the 80-mile mark.
There is a big breakaway on today. We're looking here at the main field now as they make their way down to Villeneuve-sur-Lot after 203 kilometers from Limoges, and the riders currently at about 135 kilometers into the day of racing. 17 riders have a lead now of 8 minutes and 15 seconds, and at one stage, Paul, that was 10 minutes.
Pretty remarkable. Again, we've seen these big breakaways getting out on the road, but the attacks have been incessant really since the start. And the first teams really to come to the front and try and control, Phil, were actually Mercatone Uno and US Postal Service. At the moment, though, US Postal Service must be quite happy with the situation because, in fact, Frankie Andreu has managed to get into this group. And Team Telecom have played a very sensible maneuver because they've got their climber in there, Giuseppe Guerini.
And by the way, there are 14 different teams represented in this breakaway, so that doesn't all well for the teams left behind, and that's why Mercatone Uno are being left to lead the chase.
See that this is a pretty impressive view over the Dordogne here, and once again, it really has been a very difficult stage, Phil. It started off rapidly with attacks almost as soon as they pulled in the flag.
Well, the day did start on the third category climb today after only 11 kilometers, about 7 miles out of town. And Eric Decker on the attack, by the way, today, just nipping ahead of Paolo Bettini, who was the leader in the King of the Mountains. I say was because as the day has gone on and the breakaway established, first of all, 14 riders got clear. Then a brilliant chase by Gilles Magnon, Michael Sandstad, we saw him in action yesterday, and Freddy Rodriguez, the American national champion. They caught up to make it 17 frontrunners. Decker has won the next two climbs over the Côte de Haute 4 and the Côte de la Bachelerie at 85 kilometers. And now he is the leader of the King of the Mountains on the road. We've had also the second sprint at Le Bugue, and it was won by Nikolai Bo Larsen with Jens Voigt in third place. That's significant, Paul, as we look at the time check of 7:59, because Voigt is the highest placed rider again in this breakaway. He's already the most aggressive rider of the race, 24th at 6:58.
Well, he's been looking for the yellow jersey, and Crédit Agricole is a very special team when it comes to the Tour de France. They've had so much success in the Tour in years gone by, and today they haven't waited for the mountains to arrive. They've sent Jens Voigt out, and if this break does finish with more than 7 minutes on the line, Voigt will be the new leader.
Well, many people would agree, Paul, if we say he deserves it, because he has been a wonderfully attacking rider all week this week in the Tour de France. We're now getting set up for the second week on the open road. And Jens already carries that red number on his back, indicating he is the most aggressive rider of the Tour so far.
Well, it's a good move by him, but I do feel today that they're not going to let this group get so much of an advantage, because on the front we've seen a lot of work being done by Mercatone Uno of Marco Pantani and the Kelme squad of Fernando Escartin. These are the teams that want to try and pull it all back together. And as we get closer to the mountains, Phil, you can see teams taking a lot more responsibility in chasing down these breakaway groups.
But what a different race we're watching this year, Paul. This time last year, Lance Armstrong was in the leader's yellow jersey, and he kept it right through to Paris. This year we've had 3 leaders already, and a threat almost on a daily basis. It's going to change again.
Well, all the big leaders have had a fairly perfect first week of the Tour de France so far. They've not had any problems. There have been no accidents or no illnesses reported amongst the top contenders for victory. And this man, Marco Pantani, in the pink jersey there, you can see, is a serious threat in the Tour de France this year. And his team, Phil, are riding like the team of a team who feel that their man can win.
Marco Pantani is considered the best mountain climber in the world. 11 minutes overall behind the leader right now. He can eliminate that in a day or two. Well, next Saturday, On ABC Sports, the Tour will have put the Pyrenees behind us and the battle will begin in the French Alps. By the end of next Saturday, we will know more about Lance's chances to repeat as Tour de France champion. Saturday, July 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the Tour de France on ABC Sports. One of the only events in the world for which you don't need to buy a ticket. The Tour comes to you. More of the Tour de France in a moment after this message and a word from our ABC stations.
The 2000 Lincoln Navigator. It's so luxurious, so comfortable, and so peaceful. You can almost hear a needle drop. The best-selling full-size luxury SUV in America. It's also the most powerful in the world. If you're interested in hearing more, drop in.
Pinocchio. A classic tale comes to life. The Wonderful World of Disney presents The Adventures of Pinocchio, ABC Sunday at 7, 6 Central.
Listen up, everybody. 2 guys and a girl and Norm are never coming back. What? I'm kidding. They're really back on Wednesday. It was just a joke. Are you sure? Yeah, sure. So everybody be happy. Because 2 guys and a girl and Norm are really back on Wednesday. How's that make you feel? Pretty good, actually. Thanks for asking. See you Wednesday on ABC. Okay.
For as long as the light is blue, that blue light.
If you drink and drive in this state, you'll pay a price. You'll lose your driver's license. You'll be arrested.
And you will do time somewhere. If you booze it, you'll lose it. This one lost everything. And that's real hard time.
A message from North Carolina law enforcement in the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
More local news with Michelle Madrid on News Channel 11 ABC.
It is probable that the winner of today's Stage 8 will come from one of these men in the 17-man breakaway. 2 of them are Americans, Frankie Andreo of Detroit, Michigan, and the new U.S. Pro champion, Freddie Rodriguez. They represent a growing influence of American and English-speaking representatives in a traditionally European sport. 6 Americans in the top 30 overall. Right now, former U.S. Pro Cycling champion John Eustace has more in this rider profile brought to you by Powerball.
Since the historic rides of Greg LeMond, English-speaking cyclists have increasingly influenced the Tour with each successive year.
Each generation is bringing a few more Anglophones into the peloton.
We're all part of the Le Mans generation. I mean, we were inspired by Le Mans in '89 and '90.
When we first started, it was kind of intimidating because you couldn't really speak with many people, not to mention that you were nervous and you couldn't even move up into the first 50. But now, we have that English-speaking mafia together.
Come together they have, with 2 podium spots in the last 2 tours and a cumulative 18 days in the yellow jersey.
You know, there's only a few of us here, but we seem to have a pretty big influence on the results. It was just first finishing the Tour de France, that was the best we could hope for. Then it was like maybe winning a stage. Then it was, the podium, and then it was winning the overall. So it kind of raises the bar and makes everyone more comfortable realizing that we can do this and we are, professional athletes and have the right to be leaders of a team over in Europe.
We've all been around now for a couple of years, 5, 6, 7 years, and it's about time we start getting some good results and getting the respect that we deserve.
The respect and results have arrived, due not only to the increased interest in the Tour by the English-speaking cyclists, but to their acute attention to detail as well.
The American or English-speaking way of preparing things with being very well organized and being very systematic about doing things is making a huge difference.
And you see certain riders that obviously don't train hard enough, at least, and they don't. It's not just training either; it's what they do off the bike. You know, do they look after their bodies from a diet perspective, or from a stretching perspective, or do they look at their equipment from a high-tech perspective? So it's two different mentalities.
We don't kind of hold the traditions like the French and the Italians have these 1,000-year-old traditions that they stick by and stand by, and I think they're a little bit overrated sometimes. The riders or the teams that are just kind of sticking to the old ways of 25, 30 years ago are just, not making the grade, at least in the big race like this, because this is where the little attention to detail really pays big.
Well, we're not the only Americans here in France as we thought we might be. Frankie Andreu and Freddie Rodriguez aren't the only ones with a hammer down heading for the front of the field.
Pretty serious driving. I hope he knows that field. There might be one or two holes there, and we could see ourselves a little Jeep turning upside down, but he'll come to a stop pretty shortly because at the end of that field there's a small river. So there he is. He's still up alongside the main field.
Oh, it makes a change from a horse, Paul.
Well, it certainly does. It's definitely, in fact, you can see from the tracks there, Phil, he's taken a couple of practice drives.
A few dress rehearsals, I would think, yeah. As he rides alongside the Tour de France.
Pretty remarkable. That guy's obviously a man from the region, but you can see he's pulled over now. He knows exactly what he was going to do. There's a few more 4x4s there, so obviously they're taking some time out to come and see the Tour de France as it makes its way through.
This is Pascal Lino, seen it all before. Won a stage of the Tour in Perpignan a few years back now, 93 I think it was, and when he last wore the yellow jersey in the Tour de France, that was in 1992, when he and Richard Virenque became stars of the Tour of the Future, because that was the first time we'd heard of Richard Virenque as well.
A few problems at the back of this group though, Phil. There's a lot of gesticulating going on, arms going up, and a lot of that was really because of the fact that Pascal Lino had been sitting at the back of the group for some time. Somebody's dropping off the group at the moment, more than likely waiting to see if his team car will come up alongside, because on a hot day like this at 25 degrees Celsius, these guys will certainly be keeping themselves topped up with lots of fluids.
In that 17 men is Giuseppe Guarini, an outstanding climber himself, a threat to Marco Pantani, which is why he has his henchman in pink pushing at the front of the field.
"30 contenders, 3 continents, 1 winner." The new Lincoln LS. Motor Trend Car of the Year.
I was about to start training for the Tour de France when I was first diagnosed with cancer.
Arranging a regimen of 3 Bristol-Myers Squibb cancer drugs. Doctors worked with Lance Armstrong to first control his cancer, then to beat it. For over 3 decades, Bristol-Myers Squibb has been at the forefront of developing cancer medicines.
Today, my life is ahead of me. My wife and I just had a son, Luke David Armstrong.
Oh, yeah.
Hope, triumph, and the miracle of medicine. Bristol-Myers Squibb Company.
You've got a key to your house. You've got a key to your car. Well, now you've got a key to the pump. Speed Pass from Mobile. It's your personal key to getting in and out of the station fast. Just wave it at the pump, gas up, and go. To get your free Speed Pass, call now, toll free. Mobile Speed Pass is linked to a major credit card or check card you already have. Over 3 million people are already getting gas faster with Mobile Speed Pass, the fastest way to get gas.
1,000, million, infinity, anything.
Infinity, I guess, because it goes on and on and on.
The opposite of 0 is any other number besides 0. Oh, because O and 0, they like the same exact shape, and they like reflect off each other. 1.
The big story we're following in this stage 8 of the 2000 Tour de France, a 17-man breakaway hustling up the road. Among them, Freddie Rodriguez, the U.S. Pro Cycling champion.
Well, we're looking down as we approach the third and final sprint of the day now, and the same 17 riders are still clear. 172 kilometers covered, and the gap at 5 minutes and 15 seconds. And this time it's Bart Voskamp going over the top of his old teammate there, Eric Decker, and working very hard. But really, it's Jens Voigt we expected to see in the action here, just to look for a couple of seconds. Here goes Eric Decker again.
Important, no, Radelli there has made it across to this group, as has Dario Pieri wearing 97, and Freddie Rodriguez wearing 36 for Mopé, and the US National Champions jersey on his back.
Just look at the effort being made here by Eric Decker, the new leader in the King of the Mountains competition now. And he's going to get the sprint points here, I think, unless Fred could do something about it. Fred is closing in on him very quickly and taking with him Bart Voskamp as they close down right on the line.
Well, they're opening up the sprint. Voskamp now up in first position. There is Radelli in second. And Fred Rodriguez will get a chance now just to see what sort of a sprinter Radelli is. But it doesn't look to me as if they're too worried about the sprint. Voskamp first, Radelli second. But what's more important, Phil, these guys are looking over their shoulders to see if they've got a gap over the rest.
And it will be Pieri who will have got the third place position there for Seiko.
A couple more riders coming across. It was a white jersey, so I would think it's probably the Banesto rider, Garcia Acosta, who's made the junction now, making it 7 riders on the front. A 7th rider is in there, but we didn't really get a chance to ID. In fact, I would say it's the long figure of Gilles Meunier, who's actually at the back of the group, so he didn't make it across.
Mayan, Bo Larson, Sandstock, Guerini, and Frankie Andreu also, but this is the back of the group now as the split has gone into 3 groups now.
Well, the pressure really was on going through that final sprint point of the day at Villarreal there, and you can see these guys have been caught out. It's Gilles Meunier who's at the back of the group with Nikolai Bo Larson there, but I made it 7 riders had made connection at the front to form a small, hard-working group.
So Voskamp winning that sprint over Radelli, and that's a good result for him. He's the sort of opportunist rider who gets away and works very hard.
Well, this is a 7-man leading group at the moment. Their advantage is not super over the rest of the chasers, and now Eric Decker, the Rabobank rider, has decided he wants to try and keep the pressure on. He's more happy with this situation, Phil, having a smaller group and a smaller unit to work with.
And we're at the back of the group here now, and they're watching the leading group ride away from them. Harkhammer seems to be convinced that they've gone as he goes up towards the leaders here. Good split, done primarily by the superb hard riding of Decker, who has just put himself on the front and kept himself going. And a question of anybody who can reach me can join me.
Well, it was the Banesto rider who made the junction. There he is. The other white jersey was Xavier Hon. But there is the counter-attack going off the front of Eric Decker. The Rabobank rider has put the hammer down completely, and he's decided he wants to make sure that this is the decisive part of this bike race.
Well, he's having a superb tour so far, Eric Decker, and determined to stick at it here as he races now, thinking of the third and final climb of the day, which is only 12 kilometers ahead of him, and that will give him probably a 6-point buffer in the King of the Mountains competition by the end of today.
Well, the group now starting to organise themselves behind. That was Garcia Acosta, who's just swung off the front there. And a very urgent acceleration coming there from Freddie Rodriguez. Rodriguez thinking, Phil, about the stage victory. Very nervous here in his first Tour de France and riding for the big Mapei squad over the first week of this tour. He's been a real hard worker for the squad. And he's going to come up against some very clever bike riders here. This is Dario Pieri from Seiko going through, taking up the rear at the moment, letting everybody else set the pace over the top of this long drag.
So they are now just running into the last few kilometers of this race. They've got 27 kilometers to go, and it's Eric Decker on the attack as he tries to split up the breakaway group. And there he is down there, Paul. I mean, if anything, he's stretching his lead here as we look down on the others who are generally getting it back together again.
There's another couple of riders come across there because that was 6 riders in that group, and it looks as if the next man to make the gap is, in fact, Michael Sonstad. The 2 riders from Memory Card have made the junction, in fact, because Nikolai Bo Larsen is there as well. It looks also as if the Bonjour rider Didier Roos was able to get up there. Now that will be good for Decker, because the fact that this group is swelling in size means that they will start to disorganize themselves, and they will give the advantage now to Eric Decker, who at the moment is flying along here. If we could go to his onboard computer, I would suggest he's touching 55 kilometers an hour on this part of the course.
But surely not even Eric Decker can ride off all these riders at the front of the Tour de France today, but he really thinks he can. He's settling down there to a top time trial. He is a brilliant lone rider against the Dutch champion, or former Dutch champion, and working extremely hard here.
Great bike rider started to rise to international fame when he took second place in the Olympic Games in Barcelona in 1992, when amazingly enough all three riders across the line lifted their arms in the victory salute. Now he has got a good advantage, Phil, because they're just dropping back the neutral service car. The yellow car that just stopped on the side of the road there is the neutral service vehicle, which looks after all of the bike riders and is usually called to move in when the gap is around about 20 to 30 seconds.
Well, he's got himself 12 seconds now over that chasing group, which is split into two groups. And this is the man who has won the time trial stage and finished second in the Tour of Sweden this year. So he loves to ride alone. And in the past, he has been the champion of Sweden at the time trial. That was in 1996. So he is a good man on his own. Once he's free of the tactics, he can get on with it. Clearly feels very strong today, because this breakaway has been going since 48 kilometers into the stage. He's now looking for the 25 kilometers to go banner, and he's got 12 seconds over a bunch here, which is now looking very disorganized.
Phil, his object now is to put as much time as he can between himself and what became a 60-man chase group that has fallen to pieces now. His ultimate goal, a stage victory today in the 2000 Tour de France. A week from today, on July 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, the Flatlands will be behind us, and Lance Armstrong will be in a fight for his second consecutive Tour de France title in the French Alps. 1 p.m. Eastern Time next Saturday on ABC Sports. The Tour de France continues. At the last check, Eric Decker had 12 seconds on this chase group, led by U.S. Pro Cycling champion Freddie Rodriguez, trying to push them on.
How does Lotrimin AF start killing athlete's foot? On contact. How does it start to relieve the itching? On contact. How does it help stop the burning? On contact. How does it start killing all three funguses? On contact. Nothing cures better or faster than Lotrimin AF, the #1 recommendation of doctors. So if you can't wait to feel better, there's nothing like starting the cure on contact. Lotrimin AF, the killer cure.
Wood, leather, adrenaline. The new Lincoln LS, Motor Trend Car of the Year. The hole-in-one.
The sand trap. The bad lie. Tiger Woods defends his title next at the Advil Western Open.
We have a situation.
After tonight, lost baggage isn't all you'll worry about. Kiefer Sutherland, the network premiere, Ground Control, ABC Tonight.
This Wide World of Sports update brought to you by Mobile Speed Pass, the fastest way to get gas. It's free and it's only at Mobile.
Our mobile update right now looks at the green jersey points leaders. The green jersey is the jersey that the sprinters especially are after. You gain points and time bonuses toward the yellow jersey by winning intermittent sprints within today's individual stage. Marcel Voost is #1 right now with 133 points.
That's the mobile update. This is Eric Decker with a solid lead on the chase group that includes U.S. Pro Cycling champion Freddie Rodriguez. They're all trying to work together.
Looking down then on a wonderful crowd here on today's stage of the Tour de France, and the front 17 have now split asunder as they race up towards the top of the last climb of the day. It's only a little drag of the Côte de Montflacin, coming at 185 kilometers into today's stage, and Eric Decker is the man who's aiming to be first up it, and when he gets up there he'll be confirmed as the new leader in the King of the Mountains.
Well, that group has split again. Eric Decker's still got a pretty comfortable lead, Phil, 35 seconds over the chasers. And in fact, the main field, I think, now have shut off the chasing. Now, this will be dangerous because if they let it slip out too much, Jens Voigt could find himself moving back into that yellow jersey position on the road. This is the group of 6 riders who are chasing Eric Decker. That's been caused really by that very sharp reaction there by Freddie Rodriguez, who's in second place in the line.
The thing is that Didier Roux, who was a bit of a passenger, is managing to get himself up to the second group. Here's the boy at the back of the group. Oh, and that spectator there was courting with fire. We almost brought down the leader of the group, trying to look around that corner.
Well, Garcia Acosta is the man who launched that attack there. Bart Voskamp got out of the saddle to try and pull him back, but he wasn't able to, and swung off and has left this work to Freddie Rodriguez. And look at the acceleration of Rodriguez there. He's blown out Dario Pieri and Bart Voskamp, and he's right on the wheel of the Banesto rider. I think this is an incredible ride by Freddie Rodriguez, who today is proving that he is one of the young riders in this Tour de France in fine form. And in fact, he's gone straight over the top of the Banesto rider, and he's keeping the pace on.
Yes, he's one of the boys of the future. There's no doubt about that, Fred Rodriguez. He is a very, very good bike rider indeed. And as I said earlier, having his best season with 7 wins this year. And he really has matured as a top boy.
Certainly a big thank you must go to him from the 2 wins that Tom Steele's got. There we go over the top of that final King of the Mountains of the day. 18.5 kilometers to go to the finish. Still Eric Decker in the lead, and his advantage is hovering at 35 seconds still. But I think now that this group has gone down to 6 riders, they may well start to organize themselves a little better and try and pull him back.
Freddie Rodriguez, he's only 26 years of age, so this is his first Tour de France as well. Now let's get back up to Decker here. He was racing before a great crowd in the front of this little town here of Montflacin. And then it'll be over the top of what is a small climb, the hill outside, and then on his way to the finish, he hopes. This is a fine demonstration of time trialing by the former champion of the time trial from Holland. As we look now to see, you can see the sort of ridge here as they come up this little climb. And they're chasing 6 riders, getting themselves together now. A little bit of desperate action from the breakaway. It's been split all over the road now. We're getting a bit of an idea from the helicopter as to just how this leading group of 17 men really have broken up in this last 10 kilometers or so.
Well, this leading group of 17 has been smashed to pieces. There's a result of the Côte de Montflacin, and Decker was first over the line ahead of Xavier Jean and Didier Roux. So Didier Roux making a pretty fine move to get himself into this 6-man counter-attack. Bart Voskamp had a pretty hard time over the summit of the climb though, Phil, but he has recovered to keep in contact with the group.
Well, it was Fred Rodriguez who launched the attack on the climb there at Montflacin, but it got him nowhere. They've all regrouped around him.
So the pace Freddie sets here determines whether they catch Decker or not. This is the race summary brought to you by MCI. After a nervous and fast first hour of racing with many attacks, a group of 17 cyclists finally broke away after 39 miles. That breakaway, including Frankie Andreu and Freddie Rodriguez, it built up a lead of over 10 minutes before the Briccatoni, Uno, and Kelma teams started to bring the main field back, with the lead of the attackers decreasing quickly. Rabobank rider Eric Decker launched an attack of his own. With the finish line still 18 miles away, his fate and the outcome of Stage 8 are in his hands.
We've all read about Generation X and Gen Y. This is Generation D, the generation that was born digital. The computer is no more exotic than a refrigerator. They did voice over IP in their dorm rooms. Now they're here at WorldCom. All the new technology, they totally get it. They're just wondering what's taking the rest of the world so long. WorldCom, Generation D.
The 2000 Lincoln Navigator.
It's so luxurious, so comfortable, and so peaceful. You can almost hear a needle drop. The best-selling full-size luxury SUV in America. It's also the most powerful in the world. If you're interested in hearing more, drop in.
The first time I rode it actually was at the Olympic Training Center in San Diego, and I was riding with some hotshot kids. We went out and we went down a trail they call the Bandito Trail. I just let the bike go. At the bottom of that hill, I was about 2 minutes in front of the closest 19-year-old. Honestly, it was the fastest I'd ever descended on a mountain bike, and it was the first time I'd ridden that bike, and that told me right away that bike was something special. Man, where's this bike been all my life?
There are some here who have been watching the Tour de France a lot longer than we have. Sometimes with much better vantage points. Sometimes the pretty pictures can be imposing. One man has taken flight today, breaking away from the rest of the field, Eric Decker. Now, this is the chase group. These 6 men should work together as one, but they aren't. That's why Decker's lead continues to grow.
So there they are. They've all been captured, and all 6 together again, but you see they're sitting up and freewheeling when they should be making friends with one another and start to chase down that leader, because each time they do this, it's another 5-second gain here for this man, Eric Decker, and he is absolutely flying and has never looked back. This is a superb piece of time trialing by Eric Decker, who got a silver medal in the Olympic Games back in 1992 and has had a really good professional career since.
Not showing any signs of weakness at the moment. You can see the pedaling action there. Underneath 3 kilometers to go to the finish. At this speed, that is around about 4 minutes of bike riding, and he really knows now that this is a great time for him. He's had a tough start to the Tour de France. He's been off the front, he's been off the back, and now he's looking at getting himself a stage victory here. The group behind has split once again. Another attack has gone off the front there, and it is a blue jersey once more. I wonder if it is the French rider Didier Rousse. I can't see him in this group. There is Freddie Rodriguez. So once again, the Frenchman has launched himself off the front of this group, but I think for him, Phil, it's really just after second place.
He is amazing, though, how he keeps on going for it, and he's determined to do it alone. Every time somebody comes with him, it never works, but look at that gap again. And once more, these riders are back on the defensive as they too go under the 3 kilometers to go banner. So you see they're not very far behind Eric Decker, if only they pulled themselves together and went as one rather than individuals.
Well, they've got no organisation at all. You can see now Dario Pieri is the man coming to the front, keeping the pressure on. But what they need to do if they feel that they are going to catch back Eric Decker is work as a unit. It's a long straight road there, and if we could just steady down a little bit, we might get a glimpse of Eric Decker. But Decker now is under 2 kilometers to go to the finish, and it is really going to be a pretty impressive final 2 kilometers for him.
There is no way this man will be caught now as he heads in towards the last kilometer.
Well, it's all over there for the Bonjour rider Didier Rousse. 6 riders now, and for these 6 riders, they will start to jockey for position and set themselves up for the final sprint of the day, which for them, unfortunately, is going to be for second place. News coming to us, Phil, that actually from the main field that Tyler Hamilton has had a mechanical incident in the main field, and he was actually passed a wheel by one of his teammates, Stefan Kajahard. He is up and running again and back on the main field.
Well, that really is bad news for Tyler, but here we are in the streets of Villeneuve-sur-Lot now, and a Dutch victory on the cards here. The second one for the Rabobank team. The previous one was that great sprinter in Tours by the champion of Holland, the Leon van Bon. And now this is his favourite teammate, Eric Decker, heading into town, and he's going to take out the stage here.
Well, just a couple of corners for him. Very shortly, he will see the banner that will indicate to him there's just 1 kilometre left to go to the finish line. He's taking it now. There is the banner. 1,000 metres left to go for Eric Decker, and there's just 1 corner to go.
Straight on as far as the eye can see, then a flick left and straight on to the finish. And Eric Decker here riding right across the town centre of Villeneuve-sur-Lot. Punches the air. He knows now there's no one in sight. He's got a good half minute over the chase group now. He's heading now for win number 3 of the season and win number 26 of his 9-year career.
Well, he's into the final straight now, around about 500 meters for Eric Decker. A brave move by him, Phil, to go out with almost 30 kilometers to go. He must have felt very confident indeed, because this has not been a flat run-in. He now looks over his shoulder for the last time. He knows his team manager's right behind him, and shortly we will see the victory salute once again in this year's Tour for the Dutch.
Well, he's won the Tour of Holland in his own country in the past, back in 1997, but this will go down with no doubt about it, the greatest single-day victory of his career. Tremendous cheer from the crowd, and what a way to win a stage of the Tour de France. You go in a breakaway for most of the day, and then you ride away from them with 30 kilometres to go and win the prize for yourself. Absolutely superb cycling by Decker today.
Look at the emotion here on the face of this man, Eric Decker, who really took the race by the horns to attack with 30 kilometres to go to the finish. And you don't very often see a solo performance like that in the Tour de France.
No, what a turnaround, because in March this year, he was on his way to hospital with a broken arm after a crash in Paris-Nice. Now it's all come right.
Now, Phil, coming less than a minute behind the winner is the members of the chase group led by U.S. Pro Cycling champion Freddie Rodriguez. And standing down in the middle of all the commotion is John Eustace, trying to get a word with the man who had a fantastic ride today.
Freddie, were you surprised with 2 Seiko and 2 memory cards that they didn't shut down that breakaway of Decker?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all had really tired legs. I think I had good legs, but I was a little too anxious and I couldn't control it. I just had to hope it would come down to field sprint, which it didn't.
Would a teammate have helped you? Did you feel the loss of not having a teammate in that breakaway?
Yeah, that makes a huge difference, you know. I had to do everything for myself, chase everything down, and try to keep it together as much as I could, but what could I do? I was the fastest guy, but fast guy doesn't always win.
Will we see you in more stages of the tour, trying your own hand, your own chance to win a stage?
Hopefully after the mountain stages, the sprinters. I'm a little tired, I feel a little fresher, maybe. I'll give it another shot.
Remember that comment, the fastest man doesn't always win. Here comes Jens Voigt in the green and white uniform checking his watch. Will he be the new leader?
"30 contenders, 3 continents, 1 winner. The new Lincoln LS. Motor Trend Car of the Year.
You've always believed that your dreams would come true. And all of the time, we've been rooting for you. For long years, you put your life on hold. Now this is your chance, friend. Go for the gold. Don't fall. Now that the pressure is on, don't fall. Just keep your energy strong. So follow your star. 'Cause you've got a friend in Power Bar.
The Tour de France on ABC Sports, brought to you by Lotrimin AF, the #1 recommendation of doctors. Power Bar, don't balk. Lincoln, American luxury. And Mongoose Pro Titanium bicycles.
Eric Decker has already won Stage 8, his first ever Tour de France victory. The only question now is, what will the time difference be between the chase group and the main field? The significance of that is we may have a new leader of the Tour de France.
4 minutes since the leaders, since Decker crossed the line, and 2 minutes plus since Jens Voigt crossed the line, and he was the one we were all looking at because Jens started the day 6:58 behind. So he won't get the yellow jersey, sadly. He may well have done had he managed to hang on to the first place today, but that's another story. Through the town of Villeneuve-Chulot for the peloton, beaten today by another superb day of attacking cycling, and still the men that we often think about as the likely winners of this Tour de France have not played any cards at all. They've let other riders do the riding. Under the final kilometre to go for the peloton now, anybody going to flex the legs? Where is the green jersey of Marcel Wust? He's right in the centre there because He's got what? He's got about 17 riders finished, Paul. There aren't many points left for that green jersey now. He's got to be first or second to get any points.
Well, he has to take points on every possible stage. Everyone's looking over their shoulder now. It's Festina moving forward. And in fact, Marcel Wurst is marking a rider in the pink and white jersey. And the pink and white jersey is in fact Eric Zabel. Zabel there in fourth position. The first man up to the line is going to be a Credit Agricole rider, but it will be a big sprint for Marcel Wurst to try and get himself some points.
Well, Wurst is looking around to see who's going to go here. And now he's trying to take a wheel on his right, but Wurst has gone through. And as he heads up towards the line now, this looks as though Marcel might get boxed out of this, or he might well come for it. That's Damien Nazon in the middle, but off to the right comes Marcel. And a very nice sprint too, because he's won that one. And he gets himself a couple of more points in that green jersey competition. There's the time gap, about 5:45 it was. So, in fact, Voigt will climb up overall, but he won't approach the yellow jersey, which is still being held tonight by Alberto Elli. Fabrice Gugo will stay in second, and Mark Wouters will stay in third.
Eric Decker not only survived 127 miles and 4.5 hours in the saddle today, he excelled at it. His reward is the Stage 8 victory. But how about Freddie Rodriguez, the U.S. Pro Cycling Champion, less than a minute behind? He was fourth. All the other Americans were pretty much side by side in the main field. They came across 5 minutes and 42 seconds later, so every man in the field gets the same time. Lance Armstrong was one of them, riding right alongside, again, George Hincapie. Important because George Hincapie has decided not to sprint this year and get points for the green jersey. He's going to be Lance's bodyguard. In 28 hours, 39 minutes and 28 seconds, Alberto Elli has the lowest accumulated time after 8 stages of the Tour de France. That's why he has the yellow jersey. And how about U.S. Pro Cycling Champion Freddie Rodriguez? Jumps from 55th place today with that effort. He's only 4:46 behind now at 11th, ahead of Lance Armstrong 6 minutes back, but watch him change all of that in the Pyrenees. Now, John Eustace has some breaking news on another strong team in this Tour de France.
Telecom team director Walter Godefroot has just told me that the team will not defend the yellow jersey of Alberto Elli. He said the Once almost killed themselves trying to keep the jersey for Laurent Jalabert, and they will not do the same thing. They will continue to put riders into breakaways and try to force the other teams to chase. But an all-out defense of the yellow will not happen. For them, as with many of the other favorites, the real race begins at Hautacam at the base of the Pyrenees Mountains.
All right, John, solid information as we check out the jersey update brought to you by Mongoose. As John just said, Telecom is not going to defend Ellie's yellow jersey, so that will change hands in the next couple of days. Marcel Wurst has the green jersey with the most points of the sprinters in this competition. Eric Decker with the polka dot jersey practically is the best billy goat. And Salvatore Commesso of the Seiko team is 25 years or younger, which is why he is ranked right now as the best young rider with the white jersey. 778 miles are behind the 170 cyclists left in this 2000 Tour de France. Tomorrow, with just under 1,500 miles to go, we wind our way down to the base of the Pyrenees, led by Alberto Elli, 36 years of age, the Italian cyclist who never expected this. When he won the yellow jersey the other day, he said, "What do I do with it now?" It barely fit. He's grown into it rather well, however, the leader of the 2000 Tour de France. We continue with our coverage tomorrow in prime time on ESPN2, coverage of Stage 9 in half-hour form at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And a week from today, we're back on ABC with another hour of Stage 14 up in the French Alps. For all of our ABC cycling team, I'm Adrian Karsten. ABC Sports is online at abcsports.com, a part of the Go Network. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, continuing the tradition of excellence.
Promotional consideration provided by National Car Rental, the official car rental company of Disneyland and Walt Disney World Resort.
He's one rough cop.
So I gotta smack you in the back of the head.
But tonight...
Would you think this would be all right?
Andy Sipowicz...
Or do you think I'm making a mistake?
...must come face to face with the one thing he fears most. A date. NYPD Blue, ABC tonight, 10/9 Central. Viewer discretion advised.
John, you seen that? Oh, you're good. Yeah? You're the best. John.
You guys hungry back there? Is this tuna?
Got it. I wouldn't open that.
Oh, hey.
He opened it. Guys, just get some beer.
Pickle. I got the ice house.
All right. I'll be right back. Don't touch that.
I know.
Okay.
fellas.
Frosty Cold Mom.
Dinner party, Ice House style. Because sometimes all you need is a smooth, never watered down taste of Ice House. Enjoy.